Hey, happy Friday. This week, ex-Apple employees raised $100 million for a device that doesn't even really exist yet. There is a revolution coming to the chip industry, and an all-out TikTok ban appears to be just around the corner. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video is sponsored by Ground News. Okay, this week's brief starts with iSIM, which is short for Integrated SIM. This is new tech from Qualcomm that will build eSIMs directly into Snapdragon SoCs. Previously, these required separate, dedicated chips on the phone, but no more. Next, ZTE launched the Nubia Z50 Ultra with a new 4th generation under-display selfie camera that's supposedly 30% better at transmitting light than the previous generation and still looks absolutely gorgeous. The whole phone starts at just $580 with full flagship specifications as well, so that's a pretty aggressive proposition. Then Sonos revamped its speakers with the launch of the Era 300 and Era 100 speakers, which come with spatial audio support, Bluetooth playback, and USB-C line-in audio. Remarkable put out a $199 keyboard for the Remarkable 2 tablet, which reviewers think is wildly expensive, but apparently really great. And Realme also just cloned Apple's Dynamic Island with its new C55 smartphone. This is just software, and it seems to offer no functionality beyond the already existing notification bar that it is in. But anyway, I'm actually surprised that this didn't happen from a major manufacturer earlier. Next up, Google announced Google I/O for the 10th of May, where we should expect big AI announcements, plus maybe new Pixels. And Microsoft said that all the Bing AI hype pushed the service to 100 million daily active users in just a month, with about a third of those being completely new to Bing. Also this week, Spotify announced a complete redesign of their app, jamming their versions of Instagram stories, TikTok-like videos, and auto-playing video podcasts straight into your main feed as you scroll around, which I bet that many people will just love, especially if they just want to listen to music. As someone who has just started a podcast, I have all sorts of feelings about this, and I'll talk about those in detail in where else but my podcast, together with other recent topics like a very interesting new sales figures for the phone industry. This new episode is out right now for Nebula subscribers as a video and an audio version, and everyone else who isn't subscribed to Nebula can get the episode on Saturday. Links to both are in the description. Okay, that's it for the brief, and for my first story of the week, we have to talk about a kind of unknown company that raised an insane amount of money despite not only not having a product on the market, but kind of not even having a vision that, according to me at least, seems to make a lot of sense. So this company is called Humane, and it has just raised $100 million, which together with previous investment rounds brings it to a total of $230 million. Okay. Humane has been working in secrecy for 5 full years, and what we know so far is that it was founded by ex-Apple executives who have poached dozens, if not over 100 ex-Apple employees, and other well-known figures as well, such as tech YouTuber Sam Schaffer. Not only that, the company's investor list includes Microsoft, LG, Volvo, Tiger Global, Qualcomm, Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and a lot more. So maybe all of these brilliant people have seen something that we just can't know yet, but given all the patents that the company has filed and given all the leaks that we've seen so far, things look very questionable. We assume that the company is basically building a live journal camera worn on the body that will identify and capture people, give instructions on stuff that you're doing via voice commands, and potentially project information out with a laser projector, all while streaming a video feed potentially 24/7 to some cloud server. Meanwhile, the company is also hiring Android developers, and the device is likely running a Snapdragon processor, so I assume that under the hood this is essentially an Android phone, just in an unusual form factor. I imagine this device will do essentially the same things that we expect AR glasses to do, but instead of sitting on your face, it will actually sit on your body, which sounds okay, but also sounds like we're kind of just running out of ideas at this point. The obvious comparison is, of course, with Magic Leap from a few years ago, which also raised a ton of money from very smart people while developing actual AR glasses in secrecy, just to see their whole business flop as soon as they released their first product. Now, I don't want to make too much fun of the product yet because it hasn't come out yet, so I can't really judge it properly, but I do want to make fun of their ad, which has come out, and it's just somehow wonderfully dumb. So in this ad you see a crowd of people, everyone is a zombie glued to their phone or VR goggles, yada yada. That is their whole spiel, by the way. Oh, but not this girl, she is super different, she will break free of this addictive technology of devices and everything, and she will stare straight into an eclipse for the rest of the video. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I understand that their logo is an eclipse, but isn't the whole concept of people staring into eclipses and the sun in general that they're mentally challenged? Like, somehow the vibes of this whole thing are just completely off for me. Okay, my second story of the week is going to be a mind-blowing new chip manufacturing tool, which is called Centura Scultpa, which first of all is just a really classy name. Anyway, this is a machine from a company called Applied Materials, which is a huge chip equipment maker, and it is designed to fix one of chip making's biggest problems. Chips are becoming so small and so dense that even the highest end machines can't create details fine enough in a single go without breaking the barriers between them. So to get things even smaller, they have to split designs into multiple smaller parts and then apply those step by step in a process called multi-patterning. Apparently, the upcoming 2nm process will have to run through the same machine up to 10 times using current technologies, which is a huge problem because these new EUV machines that they use cost $170 million each, and they use a ton of energy and water, making the new technologies potentially prohibitively expensive. So this is where Centura Scultpa comes in, which aims to reduce the need for multi-patterning by up to 50%. They propose that companies can now print the basic structure of their chip using their existing machines in a single first step, and then they can use this new machine that shoots ribbon beams of plasma at various angles to enlarge those elements to the desired size in a single step. It is a little bit above my pay grade to say how effective this new technique will be, but the company thinks it will be ready for 2nm processes already, and Intel and Samsung are apparently already on board. Every time you think that Moore's law might be dead, the industry goes like, yeah, but actually, have you thought of shooting ribbon beams of plasma at these things? And I'll be honest, I haven't. Okay, and for my third story of the week, it looks like a nationwide ban of TikTok is just around the corner in the US, and other regions like the EU might be following their lead too. Kinda wild. So in the US, some form of a TikTok ban has been floating around for years, at least since President Trump had the idea and then basically forgot about it and moved on to whatever else caught his attention. But this week, President Biden stood behind the idea for the first time in a meaningful way as well. A new bill called the Restrict Act was unveiled this week, which stands for this beautiful word salad, and it would essentially give the US government direct authorization to ban foreign-linked producers of electronics or software that the Commerce Department deems to be a national security risk. The bill itself doesn't specifically name TikTok, though that is very clearly its intended target, and it has broad support from both sides of the political spectrum and the president as well, so it might very well pass. Of course, just 2 years ago, the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States, or CFIUS, has already agreed with TikTok to open a Transparency and Accountability Center in the US for security experts to review their transparency, but they did that same thing with Huawei and ZTE as well, and it didn't stop those companies from getting yeeted from the country, and it looks like TikTok will be no different. Banning Chinese companies appears to be the only thing that US politicians from both sides are able to agree on, so this might actually happen, even if it would be unprecedented, and the US is not alone in this endeavor. India has of course outright banned the service a long time ago. In Australia, the app is banned from government phones, and further bans are being considered, while the European Parliament has just banned TikTok from their staff phones last week as well. Once one country starts doing it, it's kind of a domino effect. Now, in exchange, TikTok has just passed Project Clover, the company's desperate response, saying that it will open data centers in Ireland and Norway to retain data for their European users, and it of course also promises to be super responsible with said data. Now, when reading up on a story like this, which has plenty of political undertones, I like to do research and make sure that I'm not blindly tapping into some political bias of the news site that is doing the reporting, and for that I found that Ground News is an extremely valuable tool. Ground News is a website and an app that aggregates news from around the world and gives really helpful context to it all right away. This way I can get many sources for each individual story to compare and choose from, and I can also instantly see if a story is covered more on one side of the political spectrum or the other. And with my premium subscription, I can even see who funds each media outlet or how factual they are. So in this story, for example, I can see that China Daily covered it, which has mixed factuality and is owned by the Chinese Communist Party, so maybe not the best choice given the topic. Or maybe OAN, which is independently owned but also has mixed factuality, so it's probably best that I skip that too, and I can pick something with a better track record. In our increasingly polarized media landscape, this sort of information is extremely valuable. Ground News even has a dedicated blind spot selection tool that shows you news stories that are mostly covered only by one side of the political spectrum, and you can of course customize your feed so you see more news from a specific region or a topic that you care about. To get smarter about news, go to ground.news/Friday checkout or go to the link in the description, and don't forget to try out the premium plan as well to get a full picture of everything. Alright, see you in the next one.